Welcome to our show. Today we have a special issue on Studio Babacar, welcoming two guests from the United States of America to discuss this burning issue of Islam in America, especially among the African Americans. On my left, I have Imam Safari, an international businessman, a religious leader from the community of the great Muhammad Ali, the worldwide champion of boxing. On my right, I have Imam Mansoor, an American imam who's been traveling back and forth from the United States and Africa to build a bridge and to see how to connect African Americans and Africans on the continent. Imam Safari.
Thank you very much, Brother Bachir. You said it all. My name is Safari Abdu. I live in Baltimore, Maryland, and I represent a group called Community Life Forward, which is a community devoted to preserving the legacy of Islam in America and providing opportunities for the future of Islam in America.
Thank you, Imam Safari.
Thank you much.
Imam Mansoor.
Honored to be back in Senegal, in Dakar. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I work with Imam Safari in the Community Life Forward effort in establishing it across the United States. But in addition to that, making sure that the world knows the work and that Africa is connected to what we're doing. I came to Senegal for the first time, 2012, for the Afro Cities Conference, invited by our good friend, Papa Akan, Brother Moor Cham. He's been my host then, and he continues to be my host now as we bring more delegations to Senegal and to West Africa.
Thank you, Imam, for this introduction. Now, my first question is for Imam Safari. Imam Safari, what is the current situation of Islam in America?
Well, I would say that the current situation of Islam in America is as it has been since the 1930s in the form of a consistent growth. Islam in America, when it returned to America, because the majority of the Africans enslaved in America were Muslim, and we were stripped by the process of the transatlantic slave trade of our religion, as well as our sense of identity and our sense of connectivity to education. And Islam came in the form of a strange expression through the Nation of Islam, paramilitary black nationalism that was sponsored by and led by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but taught by Mr. Farad Muhammad, who was a man from the subcontinent of India. And it came in the form of really social justice, social reprieve and redress for the terrible condition that Africans that were enslaved in America found themselves in once slavery ended. There was much discrimination, there was much disparity, there was really no effort to help provide us the connectivity back to our identity that Al-Islam helped provide us with. Since that time, that worked, and it did marvelous work as a social effort, effort of social reform, and it prepared our community for Al-Islam that Imam Warithuddin Muhammad, Imam Muhammad was the, rahimahullah alayh, was the son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he is our teacher. He is the one who introduced us to the universal concept of Al-Islam and the universal concept of La ilaha illallah. And we are forever indebted to him for presenting that to our community. Interestingly, the base of Islam, of Al-Islam in America is, and I go into that history because it's very important to connect Al-Islam in America to social justice, to connect it to reprieve and redress It has always been that in the United States of America. It's very important to understand. It's important to understand because there are those that would distort the image of Islam in America, or Islam in the world, or Islam in Africa, or the Middle East. They would make it seem as though this is not a religion that promotes freedom, justice, and equality.
I think we'll get back to that question later. So Imam Mansoor,
Yes.
how do you think the connection can be made between African American Muslims and Africans on the continent?
Beautiful, beautiful question. Islam, as Imam Safari just explained, has grown tremendously in America. It's the fastest growing religion. It is the most popular religion when it comes to the entertainers, the artists of America that the world sees. It becomes the most popular names of Americans who name their children with names like Hakeem and Ali and Fatima. They love the names of Muslims. The popularity of the religion allows for a certain dignity to be reinstilled in the people. And so as expressed, social justice being the form of that, service being the action of that, we see people acknowledging the beauty of al-Islam and service. When we come to places like synagogue, we see the life of service and love and sharing. We see that expressed in America, but we know that the common denominator is the religion. It is the life of Muhammad the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that teaches us to be kind to our neighbor, to engage and see the needs of your friend and your family, to take care of the children and the orphans. And so that life of the Muslims in America is allowing for a rebirth of human decency, a rebirth of human decency and excitement around what al-Islam brings to the people of America. As we enter into the world of al-Islam, our closest connection is to Africa. When we think about, or when we say someone is coming into Islam, we don't say that they're converting, we say that they're reverting to the great ancestry of Muslims who came into the continent of America. And that returning to Africa seals that bond, connects back to that truth, and allows for us to see our whole story and our whole life as Americans. So it's a beautiful opportunity to be connected to the religion, being one in the faith, but being with our brothers and sisters on the continent has an amazing effect for those who have made the travel that I've brought here, those who come on their own. They see the connection of the life we're striving to have. So it's a beautiful relationship that we're building.
This is a way of turning the door of no return into the door of return.
You say it well, exactly. They called it the door of no return when they took us 400 years ago. And as we continue to fly back faster, we're able to make it the door of return for building the family back together and building the relationship for our leadership as Muslims in the world.
That's great. Imam Safari, well, you know that Islam now is facing a lot of challenges, among which we have this terrorist movement that is really putting into jeopardy the image of Islam. How do you feel about it as African-American Muslim in America?
Well, first I'll say that I don't know we have these terrorists. I hear that on the television, but I've yet to go to a masjid. I've yet to interact with a Muslim and hear ideas that are strange, that want to hurt people. Every Muslim I ever met always wants to help people. Every Muslim that I ever met wants to promote peace. But I do see the evidence because, yes, there are bad things that happen, and they happen in the name of people who have political motivations, and they happen sometimes conflating their political motivations with religious aspiration. And I take exception to that because that's like taking an ugly monster mask and putting it on the beauty queen of the world, of the universe. You know, Islam is the most beautiful religion, but sometimes you see media promoting an ugly mask over it. So that makes me feel a little bit unsettled, and maybe really unsettled. And we want to remove the ugly mask that people have put over Islam and show the beauty that it truly beholds.
So how are you going to do that?
Oh, well, we're very active doing it right now. The first step is education. We have to educate ourselves. We have to educate our hearts. We have to educate our hearts. If we can educate our hearts and link with others, like as I see since I've been here, and I'm grateful for Imam Mansoor bringing me to this country, I see the love of Allah and the love of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam as something that unites and joins all the people. Some people may be part of this group, some people may be a part of that group, but they've in common agreed that La ilaha illallah, there's no God but one God, is the common glue that unites humanity. And I think that that education, when you educate the heart of that supreme idea, is the beginning of thinking and beginning of informing our strategies to implement change and get into the actions that, yes, how are we going to do that? And we can talk a lot, maybe more than in this short segment, but we have to have schools and institutions that reinforce that education. We have to have exchanges that reinforce the knowledge that this life in this world is bigger than my local circumstances. We have to have hope instilled by the fact that if the media or the television has someone coming into my home and telling my children while I'm at work, working, that they can buy these $200 tennis shoes, or they should want to have these $200 tennis shoes, they should be asking the parents' permission first. So we have to be vigilant in the family life to restrict the things that would hurt our family life, and we have to be engaged in the community life to bring families together that will educate our life and our hearts, and we'll see results that will actually, remove that mask.
Imam Mansoor.
Islam is the future. It's the past, it is the present. But when we're talking about building our nations and building our people and our communities, we have to make sure we keep our faith in Allah and our religious life first. I think that the inspiration of the great American civilization, the work that is happening in America that powers and influences the world, our brothers and sisters in Africa should know that that is happening through the leadership of Muslims, the good that we see. That the American Muslim community are in the highest offices of the land. We have 2 African American Muslim congressmen. We have educators, professors, and leaders of universities who are established in the faith and leading in our society. We have in the music industry and the artistic culture, as well as just lay everyday leaders that are inspiring goodness in America, and the world should know about it. And it is inspiring for Africans, those in the continent, those in Senegal, to know their brothers in America and know that goodness is on the rise.
Good, good. Now, Imam Safari, we're going to talk about business.
Great.
How do you think business can help in this endeavor?
Oh, that's a great, great question. I think that business is critical because within business, we're enabled to provide a material expression of our immaterial interest. And we like to say, just as Allah has given us a soul, which will be held accountable for our actions in this life. But He didn't just give us a soul, He gave us a body through which to express that soul. And if you don't have a body, you're called a ghost or a spirit. You have to have a body in order to express your soul in this world. And so religion is the same way. It's a communal expression of the soul. Religion is the communal expression of the soul, and it requires business to express itself. Business affords the material expression for the collective immaterial interest, which is religion. So if you and I and him, different ones, we believe our families should be coming together, then we have to get into business in order to express it. And furthermore, if we really believe in this belief system, it will take us to becoming educated in the belief system. And when we become educated in the belief system, we find that Muhammad the Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam, our example and model, was a businessman before he was the prophet. And so it wasn't, and not only was he one, Abu Bakr was, Umar was, Abdul Rahman bin Auf. So you had so many ashab around Rasulullah, alayhi salatu wasalam, and they were big. They weren't just small businessmen, they were international businessmen. They went to Syria and other places, and they took care of the right things necessary to make a strong society by the proceeds from their business. So I think if we're serious about our religion, we have to be just as serious about business.
Thank you, Imam. So, Imam Mansoor, one of your motto is, we believe in hard work, simple living, and high thinking. How can you explain this?
Yes. But first is faith in God. Faith in God, hard work, simple living, and high thinking. This is what we understand to be the formula for success as a Muslim or as a human being. To really achieve your success and your height, you have to have faith in God. You have to be able to put God first over all transactions. Put God first over all endeavors in your life and relationships. And you have to work hard to earn. Man gets only what he strives for, as the Quran says. And so when we think about bringing those two things together, as Muslims, we're not looking for anything. Our hand isn't out. We're looking to serve. You know, one of the very famous sayings of Muhammad Ali is that service is the rent we pay for our room on earth. Giving, working, struggling, striving, this is sharing with one another, is the way in which we're able to really show that we are working to build good things in the world. Thinking, high thinking, simple living, meaning that we're not wasteful. Simple living, meaning that we are just using only what we need to use and not being wasteful. And in that same idea that you're looking out for your neighbor, you're looking out for others as the Prophet would do. In our instruction as caretakers of the earth, when we are Khalifa, we're not abusing the land. And then high thinking, thinking about the bigger picture. Rabbul Alameen. Allah is the Lord of the worlds, but Alim means of all systems of knowledge, as we come to know in our modern day, of the knowledge that we're presented on earth. So we think about things in the highest degree of what Allah makes available for us and know that He is the one that knows all, and we are the ones that are in the student chair. So we're constantly being aware of what He unveils to us as believers. So it's a simple formula for a good life.
Thank you, Imam Mansoor. So, as you know, we are now drawing to a close for this special issue on Mr. Babacar, and I would like just to ask my guest to give the last word. Imam Safari, what would be your last word?
I hope that the people watching this broadcast, specifically the people who are of this blessed and holy earth, this land of Senegal, welcome us, hear not only my words, our words, but hear our intention. And our intention is to respond to the fact that 400 years ago we were stolen from our home, and we are sons and daughters of this land, and Al-Islam came to bring us back in the right way, in a pure way, and even we can do many things together. We're even doing some commerce right now. One of the things, beautiful brother Job Marabou, your good friend, he took us and we were able to shop. And look at this. We were able to buy this shirt. And I think a lot of people are going to like this shirt. Doesn't it look good? It's going to look wonderful. People are going to buy it all over America. And we're going to be able, but this is made by our hands in Africa. And so we'll be able, when we do trade together, we'll get to know one another even more and more, and we'll work together and we'll change the world. Bi-idhnillah.
Thank you. Imam Mansoor.
I have come to love my return home, and I've come to love the people. When we study history, we see that all of the resources, the natural minerals that have come from the earth of Africa has powered and fueled the world. This is the richest land on the planet. But the very secret of what has the more value is the people. is the human capital, is the dark oil of the man and the woman of Africa. It's something that is here, that is sensitive, that is beautiful, that lifts my spirit when I connect with African people. I feel at home. The audience should know that your brothers and your sisters in America and throughout the world has that love for you, and that we should always make sure that we see each other as a part of one family.
Thank you, Imam Mansoor. Thank you, Safir. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a pleasure today to welcome on in this Studio Babacar special issue our two guests from the United States of America. Thanks for watching. We will be back next week. Thank you.